You.
You have goodies.
Oh, let's see. We close. We close. That's pretty good.
My main school.
That's you. That's you. 10 o'clock. All right, there we go. Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
It's 10 a.m. Commonwealth County Commissioners Court for March 27th, 2013 is now in session.
They're gonna give me a call.
At this time, we'll go to agenda item number 3, public to speak. If there's anybody in the public that would like to speak, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow.
Good morning, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Just want to report, we have 64 inmates. We have 8 females. No one is out of town incarcerated at this time. Wanted to inform you also that we had a money seizure on Wednesday. We have finished our ballistic training presentation and program at the fairground, at the firing range. All operations to be within normal limits. We have 4 openings in the jail. Still taking applications for those positions and 2 openings in the Patrol and Traffic Division. I'd like to also inform you of possibly placing an agenda item for the control board that is over 14 years old, and it's at the county jail. We're beginning to see some malfunction into it, and those are the ones that control the doors and the monitoring of all doors and interior barriers that we monitor on a daily basis. And that item runs at about $109,647. It is from Sedeptic, and they have contacted us. We've contacted them, and they've contacted us. They'd be more than glad to take 2 payments if the event we decide to put it on the agenda, but it needs to be replaced. It was purchased in 2009. This week we have the Coastal Plains meeting that we usually have on a quarterly basis here at the county, at the sheriff's office. We also have the Veterans Memorial Service that will be taking place, I believe, at 10 a.m. at the Veterans Park. We should be attending that one and assisting in the traffic control. Also, item of interest, Senate Bill 22 that has eligible of $300,000 for emergency management. Met with Judge Medred out of Clayburgh County, and he informed me that some of those monies could possibly be used for law enforcement. I guess we need to look into that. Senate Bill 22 that's eligible for $300,000.
Yes, sir.
That's all we have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, today we have present Mr. Tolly Bolin.
Morning, sir. I spoke once before. I've been told that there's quite a bit of concern or thought process going into still permitting for being able to burn for agricultural purposes and brush on your land. Found out about that early this morning. Of course, I've met with the judge. He told me that it's about lifting the burn ban. He explained a little bit about that process. I just want to make it really, really clear that my thought and my stance, as well as many of my neighbors who couldn't be here today, is that the system we have would work if it's enforced. If anybody takes the time to read the statute that was given to me last time I was here, I believe it's from 2000, I forget which year. It's a couple of years old. Most of your names are on it. But it requires us to notify the sheriff's department and the local fire department 24 hours prior to burning. That's all it requires. It doesn't say contact your commissioner. It doesn't say contact anybody else. I don't know of any incidents that have happened in a negative sense where somebody has done those things. So if you're going to make a new law or a new permit or anything like that, I would strongly ask that you would take the time to enforce or take care of the people that aren't doing what they're already supposed to be doing. Because if you call and you notify everybody and everybody's aware of it, I don't know of any problems we've had go awry that way. I also understand that by the commissioners asking us to call them, I can see where that would put them into a liability situation because they're somehow involved. But what I want to make sure that I'm not sure everybody understands is that's not what the current statute says. It does not ask you to call your commissioner. I always have because that's what was requested of me. I also don't want there to be a fee or anybody else that's trying to do the right thing, that has tractors and equipment, that clears around it, that does everything they're supposed to be. I don't want them to have to go through another process or another step or anything other than what's already there, because the reality in my mind, if we did what's already on the books and we enforce that, there would be nothing left to talk about. So that's my stance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Adrian J. Garcia.
Morning. I'd just like to say that I'm against getting the permit for the burn ban, and I stand with Tony, and I am against that. Thank you.
Marcos Peña.
Hello, my name is Marcus, and yes, I'm against the thing for the permit for the burn ban. I recommend that if anything, educate people, because I was never informed about contacting the sheriff's department and all that, so I never knew about that during a burn ban. I just didn't burn. But if I was taught, hey, you need to do this and this, or educated about it, I'm sure a lot of people would have better knowledge and the resources to say, hey, I can't burn. I don't have the means of a tractor. As long as you, like I said, educate these people and know, hey, there is a way. If you get a hold of us, the fire department knows, and you don't let this escalator get out of hand. I'm against the permit mainly because we do have the means to monitor the fire at my own ranch. And that's all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is it Eric?
Yes.
Shut. Come on, Mr.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name's Eric Scott. I live in Ben Bolt. And the same concern these gentlemen all are voicing on permitting. If there's a cost with it, I don't know why that would be. I wouldn't be against an electronic permit to where you could go online the night before or calling. That way you'd have a track record of where the person's at. I just don't think that it would be a good thing if the permit is going to generate income. I don't know if that's the purpose of it or what the purpose would be. However, I do like the thought myself of having an electronic platform where you could go in and populate the information, and that would show where you're at and the reason you're going to burn. So anyway, I know y'all are always trying to improve the system. I just don't think that having to pay for a permit to burn would be the right way to go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Guy Baker.
Thank you. Good morning. I just kind of want to reiterate what everyone else has said. I also am against any kind of permit. I don't want to end up in California and having to, not be able to barbecue on my front porch. And I know that that's an extreme. But I think that that's where laws go. I spent 25 years of my life as a law enforcement officer, and what I learned is if you enforce the laws you have, you don't need to make new ones. We have the equipment on at our place to make sure we burn safely. And like I said, I don't know of any instances in my dad's lifetime or our lifetime where someone that does and calls in correctly, calls in like they're supposed to, where there's been an issue. Now, I'm not against, like I said, an electronic notification system so that the volunteer firemen don't have to go out. And I've spoken with a bunch of them, and that seems to be part of the issue, is that they're showing up when they're not needed. Maybe that's an internal issue between the sheriff's office, and then maybe we can, somehow the court can fix that. But I'm against any kind of permit that we have to pay for. Thank you.
I think that was the last one submitted. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip over to agenda item number 9, because I know there's at least 5 of you, and I know you all probably have jobs or something you need to go to. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip down to number 9, and we'll address that right now. Discuss, consider, and take action to lift or extend burn ban from the current expiration date period not to exceed 90 days. Okay, before we get into that, I don't know where or who or what it turned into a permit process, but this is what we do since the time I was judge before and way before this. This is just the numbers that we get that tell us that it's not good to burn, and we enforce a burn ban, or we don't. So the permitting process that might be coming in the future, I don't know where even the word permit came to fruition, because it's more like a notification system. For the protection of you and everybody around you, and the protection of us in the commissioner's court, we have to have something, because I know when I was judge 4 years ago, and the 4 years prior I was judge, never had a problem. And I'm sure that the previous judge never had a problem either. So the main thing is that we get a notification that you're doing, whether it's a burn ban or not, just for safety reasons. That's all it's for. And where it came out that we may charge for one, I don't know where I came out either, because, you know, as county judge, I am the emergency administrator, and then I have my emergency manager. And quite frankly, we're all the emergency administrators, because we all care for our county, we all care for our citizens. So this is not really about a permitting process, and I hope we didn't take too much of your time for that. This is just something that usually happens. A normal, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, the way that it came was Lance was the one that actually sent me a link and told me that this is where I went to get the permit. That's where I showed up the first time, so that's where it all came from.
Okay, thank you,
I
I
have the
appreciate
text
that.
from him telling me that, and they don't issue a permit.
Yeah, and Lance and I have discussed it the last few weeks, and you know, permit, I don't know if that's the right word we should use, because it's not really we're not permitting you, and we're not gonna pay you for, have you pay us for something. So if it's not a permit or something to pay, it's a notification process for safety. So, but I really appreciate you guys coming down and letting us know how you feel, because a lot of things we do, you know, it's derived from how you all feel, how you all think, and what's right and what's wrong, and what's good for the protection. But I appreciate you guys. But today has nothing to do with the notification process that we're hopefully going to have in the future. Mr. Brown?
Yeah, that, going just to that pamphlet, you know, the notification, basically, whenever you walk out of HEB, they hand you a hurricane preparedness, right? All of us in this room know exactly what we're gonna do in the event that a hurricane's coming, right? This is basically a guideline for dummies, you know, on this. Follow TCEQ rules. Don't burn tires. Don't burn railroad ties. that type of stuff. Make sure that the relative humidity is correct. Make sure that just because today's a good day doesn't mean that tomorrow is going to be a good day. If you burn a big pile of brush today and then a norther's blowing tomorrow, well, now you just kind of defeat the purpose. It's not a permit. Nobody's getting charged for anything. We haven't even made it to legal hardly. So it's still just a thought process because we want to get it right. Be electronic, it's not to put handcuffs on anybody. I'm a cowboy. I own 150 acres. We do farming, we do ranching. So I'm not for having handcuffs on myself either, but this is just for protection during a burn ban process.
And we're just here to make sure y'all understand how we feel about that process going forward.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So commissioners, on this right here, our KBDIs, when I looked them up yesterday, we're at 274. On the Live Oak, we're at 343, San Pat's 347, Nueces is 297. 500 is kind of the threshold. What's concerning, and this is where we're gonna need y'all's help, is they say it's a county-wide burn ban. It's not just for the north, it's not for just the south. It's a county-wide burn ban. If you look at the ones in red, Brooks County, our neighboring county, is 637. Clayburgh County's 549, Duval's 425. If you turn the page and you look at the map, that's on where we get the KBDIs at. If you look, it kind of looks like 141 and below is in extreme drought conditions. I talked to the chief on the north side, Henry Barajas. He said that he was for it. Jeff McFadder, the chief from Orange Grove, said he'd like to see what this rain did. Did all right on the north side. Patrick from Ben Bolt, he said he didn't really, matter one way or another. Chief Chapa from Fremont highly recommended it. Last week, he had 2 fires that were in the city where AEP was working, and it popped and it started a fire right there in the city. So that was just, a small fire that, just off of sparks. Like I said, so that's the recommendations of the chiefs. They say to implement it. Our numbers look good, as far as the county, but from like 141 and below, it's not looking so good. Our neighboring county's not looking so good either. So, I'm gonna follow the recommendations of the fire chiefs and say that we continue it. We can always lift it. If we get some good rains down there in the south, we can always lift it. But I mean, it's your guys' call, because we are right KBDIY. But if you look at what the statistics are showing from our southern counties, it's a countywide, all for one and one for all. So I'm good either way.
Commissioners?
I got a lot of constituents who are ready for it to be lifted, calling the office all the time about it being lifted.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to lift it.
I'll second it.
Okay, so I have a motion and I have a second to lift it. Further discussions. I know is Michael. So
He's there.
we have issues in our lower Jim Wells County section. Now, when we lift it, are we lifting it for a certain period of time, or at any time we can come back and implement it again?
Well, I think we've always used the KBDI numbers for letting us know whether we need to put it up there or not. I think the numbers are very extremely low. I understand in the southern part, it's a little, the adjoining 637 with Brooks County, but I feel that we've had the people tied up here long enough, and I think some people need to, I personally have about 20, 30 piles of brush that I need to get burned.
And for the
And
record,
so I
that's
think we
that's
need
your that's your precinct also. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so
So I firmly believe that we need to, I'd agree with lifting it.
I just
The
think
number 6, just otherwise, excuse me, I'm sorry. Otherwise, later on, then we come back.
that lifting it, we just need to be extra careful, because we can still, disc around wherever, have water, accessible in case it gets out of control. Because just because it's the KBI numbers are good, you never know.
One other thing, I believe it was Mr. Peña that made the comment that if we, and I know Mr. Lance, we discussed this before, we educate our people and announce it and let them know exactly what we can and can't do and what's required. People are aware of it, and just educating them more often.
And
would
I
help a
think,
lot.
and I think anybody out there listening and everybody in here, when you're gonna burn, just notify, just one call, notify the sheriff's department. That way they're, the fire departments can be on their P's and Q's, and if they get a call from that area, that they may be recognizable that you're having a burn over there.
I think that the commissioners should get a call, because we have equipment that, in case a fire breaks out, that we need to be on standby. So I think it's important to call your commissioner.
All righty, so, I have, thank you all again. Appreciate you guys.
And, like if I may, Judge, and to Mr. Garcia, and that's basically the way we've done it in the past. People have contacted the commissioners, and I know I speak real loud on this one because I represent the southern part, which there has a lot of bigger ranches, and people are burning agriculture purposes, and they have to get it done through USDA. And these guys are very well knowledgeable on what they're doing, and I just feel that when they call us, I usually send, either I go myself or I usually send a supervisor to verify that everything, and they'll give us a game plan of what's going on. So with, I've had people, I've had 2 gentlemen call me, text me last week in Palito Blanco, and I said, no, we can't do it, They just wanted to burn burst piles at the house. I said, no, hold off. If they can put it out there, we'll pick it up, and I understand not everybody here does, but for the most part, we don't always give it a free for all. We monitor closely what's going on. We go out there and check it out.
No, and I appreciate y'all commissioners for doing so, because it's very risky, and we got some rain, and that rain dropped our numbers, but yeah, either way, the safe, in this situation, I always go on the safety side rather than taking a chance. So you all know where we're at, and we appreciate y'all again. And that being said, I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And go ahead and put me on yes. I'm gonna go with my commissioners on this. We went yes. We're going yes.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a safe day. Okay, let's see. We have agenda item number 4. Discuss, consider, and take actions on minutes from previous meetings.
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
A second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excuse me, I got my contacts on. I still have trouble seeing, so discuss, consider previous meetings approved, okay? So, number 5, we have a presentation by Joey Campos with Allegiance EMS. Welcome, Commissioner Court.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, how are y'all?
Morning.
Joey Campos with EMS Chief with Allegiance Mobile Health, City of Alice, and Jim Wells. I'm here to report the call volume and our progress for the last couple of months. We're currently sitting at, for this month, we are at 241 calls from the first of the month till currently today, this morning. I've separated the areas from north, central, and south. North being Orange Grove, Medic 6354, Medic 4. Central being the kind of the belly of Jim Wells with Medic 53, Medic 3, and then south is in Fremont, Medic 54, Medic 4. Currently for the month of March, we have the north with 71 requests and responses, the central 98, and the south is at 72. We're currently at 241 for the month.
What was it, Southern?
The south was 72. Now for the year, we're currently sitting at 784 responses, requests and responses. The north with 91, and their busiest, I'm sorry, they're north with 243, with their busiest month being February with 91. Central is at 332, with their busiest month also being February with 124 responses. And in the south, we have 209 responses, with their busiest month being this month in March. They're already sitting at 72. We're currently working, I met with the judge and Lance, and we're currently working on adding additional communication systems into our trucks. We are using like push to talk radios in our ambulance systems, and we're going to include a radio system that's going to be able to communicate with Jim Wells, law enforcement, and the responding areas. Currently, the equipment is on hand, and we have it out with Mr. Justin in Refugio. He's was kind of they told us that he's the best guy that could probably do that for us. And
CLO for TV.
there you go. And he's got them on hand, and now we're kind of on his schedule and waiting for those things to get programmed. Once they're programmed, they'll be installed in the units, and then we'll start the process of trying to, wire them in and make sure that we can communicate back and forth. We are staffed. I think we are short. I'm short 2 paramedics right now. One in the Orange Grove area on the north, and we're training an individual right now that's potentially going to take that spot. And then we have 1 paramedic spot that's open in the central spot section for Jim Wells, and we're accepting applications for that. Once those 2 paramedic spots get completed, then we'll be fully staffed for the area. We're looking forward to getting this radio systems in place, and I'm working closely with Lance and the judge and trying to come up with a progressive reporting system for you all that's going to give you the information that you need, but it's not going to be an overkill with the amount of information that I could potentially give you. So if you guys have any ideas of information that you may want to be included in this report, get with myself or Lance or the judge, and I'll make sure we include that in there. It can be as simple as a particular area that you want to keep track of that we're responding, maybe an individual that continuously calls over and over, or as detailed as where are we transporting to, or and our response times and things like that. So I'll get with everybody and see what's a good time of reporting. You want me here every month, or you want me here quarterly?
I think,
Yeah, what's your average response time?
Our average response time,
Yeah,
collectively, we're looking at 14 and a half minutes. Now, that's collectively, right? There's some that sometimes it's depends on what's going on. I do have a number. Out of those numbers for this month, like 241 responses for the month, 22 of those were crossed. So which means the north is out and central has to go pick up another call in the north.
For what reason?
Because that unit's already on a call. So that they're double calling, right? So let's say a call comes in at 9:15, at 9:30 there's a second call, and the central unit is going up there to go pick up that second call. Which would explain why we have our posting processes. We have 3 ambulances covering the entire county of Jim Wells. When one of them goes out, we have to make moves.
So if I was to ask you for information telling me that a call was made to Orange Grove at 9:45, but then another call was made over here to Tecolote, would you be able to provide the time that it was made to go to the Orange Grove, but the other ambulance wasn't able to go that way, so we're late over here? Can you provide that for us?
Yes, I can put that together. Yeah.
Just want to make sure we can verify it. because
Yes.
In Fremont, the problem we've had before that they've made calls for them and the ambulance wasn't there. So, we've had a couple of instances, and I just want to make sure that we're covered in Fremont, because I believe it's Orange Grove in Fremont, they're supposed to have at all times 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and that's where they're assigned to. Yeah, and we don't move them in the event. What we use is, it's called system status management, which is the only way we can function with a county of this size. All right, so if your ambulance in Fremont gets a call and we transport, right, there's a possibility they're going to be coming to Alice or they're going to be going to Clayburgh. We still have a responsibility to cover that community some way, shape, or form. So what happens is our ambulances shift over, right? The central ambulance will shift over halfway between the center and Fremont, and then the north ambulance switches over halfway as well. So now we're just playing wait and see where the next call comes in. We also have services in Brooks, and if those guys are available, sometimes that's the most logical response would be from Brooks that get mutual aid, and they come into Fremont and cover the response. There's other systems in place that we can assist you with. I can go over to your office and we can talk about putting the program that's accessible to you guys. We use TraumaSoft, and I can put the map on your computer and you can take a look at it at any
I know
given
that
time.
last time we spoke, you talked about trying to get I believe it was a supervisor in a regular pickup truck to be able to roam around the county,
Yeah,
just in case something happened, you could get there fast.
At that current time, I was talking to the current judge and he was thinking about requesting something to that. We're kind of, and that's kind of what the process we are here again. We're just trying to put our minds together to see what's the most reasonable way of responding. Do we need to take a cost of another ambulance? And that might be what we have to do. We have to look at the numbers, and then, or do we need some form of like a response vehicle that's going to be able to get there and start initiating treatment before the ambulance gets there? I get it. Emergencies there's a difficult thing to deal with. Seconds feel like minutes and minutes feel like hours. And the last thing we want to do is have, somebody very upset or the patient not benefit from our services.
And I'm not trying to put you in a spot or anything, it's just that I've had people in the Fremont area call me and say, hey, where's the ambulance?
No,
And we're responsible for it.
I totally understand that, Commissioner. You have a job to do, and it's my job to provide you the information. If that's something that you need, you let me know, and I'll give you guys my number. And if it's a particular case that you want to, you let me know. We'll dissect it. I'll meet with you guys, and we'll take care of it. Our goals here is to make sure that the communities that you guys are responsible for are taken care of in the best capacity.
And as we talked in my office, probably every other month. That way, until our commissioner's court is more comfortable, then we can go quarterly. But every other month, that way you can keep us posted on everything. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. And if there's any issues, just keep us abreast. Right now, you let us know that you're down one man and that you're looking for one. That's good for us to know. That way we can understand. Another thing that may happen is if you can compare last year or the last 2 years, number of calls, and maybe we can find out which months are your peaks. That way we know, DPS can know, and Sheriff's Department can know, and our local fire departments, volunteer fire departments can all be the same knowledge that we have, and know that, hey, it's July. If July is the month you have the highest calls, hey, July is going to be a big month. So, but that'll be good to as a comparison for us to know those numbers.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And I'll put some numbers together based on we've embedded some ambulances that we use to assist Chris Spawn on their transfer process, and we utilize those ambulances as well. One major accident in Jim Wells could tax the whole system. A big accident with multiple patients, and there goes all our resources. So
like the one Clayburg had.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got all those resources available. Luckily for us, with Allegiance, we're able to tap into our home base in Corpus, and we have a lot of resources over there. Of course, there's still that time period for them to start shuffling over here. But in the event of something that size, I'm confident that we're able to tackle that because we have those resources.
Yeah, and I know one of the times we talked the last time, you mentioned that the Tecolote area was one of the high calls.
Yes.
Basically higher than the Bembolt area. And we pretty much, right, so I said, and we understand the calls are over here, then we need to concentrate a little bit more here.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and then Clayburg, Brooks, and of course ourselves, we all have Allegiance, and we're all on constant communication because we want to help our constituents as best we can. In the future, we may bring up to the court a mutual aid agreement where if it's if our ambulance is 3 minutes away, 5 minutes away, however many minutes that we say that, then we can go. Because we did have a horrible accident last year that claimed the life of one of our precious employees. And I'm not going to say that if anybody got there faster, it would have saved her life. But if there is that chance, then maybe the mutual aid agreement might be the best way to go. And we appreciate you coming today and providing the numbers. Is there any more questions from the commissioners?
So we're in agreement that he will be here every other month?
Yeah, every other month.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
you,
Have a
sir.
good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to go back to the public to speak on number 3, and that's, this time I'll be the public. The second week of April, I'm trying to put together a emergency management symposium where Allegiance will be there. They've already stated that they would be there, and they'll probably pay for our lunch. We'll have Allegiance, we'll have our Sheriff's Department here, Jim Wells County Sheriff's Department. We'll have all the fire chiefs. We'll have the Claiborne County Judge, the Brooks County Judge, and probably Duval County Judge, and everybody else that we think that needs to be in the same room. We've had some concerns here in Commissioners Court about some safety issues. We hope to spend 2 or 3 hours all together. Commissioners Court, we probably have to do one of the agenda items to have something outside the courtroom. I'm trying to nail down the place and date and the times, probably from 10 to 1, something like that. But I want to put all these individuals, all the first responders on the same place, so we can talk about improvements. And we all have stories and whatever else of bad things that happen here, and those are all legit. But I want to focus on how we're going to get better to address those issues. And I think, Margie, you had something you want to announce before?
That on March the 29th, from 9:30 to 12, there will be a National Vietnam War Veterans Day celebration at the Veterans Plaza Park.
29th?
March the 29th, from 9:30 to 12.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else before I go back? All righty, so we're back on agenda item number 6. It's a consent item.
I make a motion to approve item number 6 presented, Judge.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second to approve agenda item number 6 as stated. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item number 7, discuss, consider, and take action to enter into a non-exclusive contract with Dr. Ray Fernandez to provide autopsy services for Jim Wells County. We had a presentation by Ray Fernandez last time, and
His lawyers there.
as I do what now?
The lawyers there.
Okay, Mr. Guerra's there too. Mr. Guerra, either one of the Mr. Guerras, would y'all like to address the court? Mute, Albert, Robert.
Thank you, Judge. Yeah, we were blocked from unmuting ourselves, but Jerry probably needs to be unmuted so that he can, there you go.
Trying to unmute. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
You muted Michael.
Yeah, no, Michael's muted.
Jerry, the judge just wanted you to briefly reiterate what the terms of the contract were.
Okay, the terms of the contract, and I don't know if y'all have still a copy there in front of you, but basically this is going to provide the county to hire Dr. Fernandez to conduct the autopsies and any other forensic type of examinations that the county would need. And it would be in accordance with the list, the price list, if you will, that was attached to the contract. And there's several different types of examinations that are available, from the complete to a partial. And Dr. Fernandez is willing to work with the justices of the peace, with the judges there, and train them and inform them of the process of getting him involved. He has a facility in Corpus Christi. He's already started conducting examinations there for other counties, and he was hoping to have Jim Wells also contract for his services. The contract presented to y'all was for 1 year with the ability to be renewed. It is not an exclusive contract. If the county, Jim Wells County, decides to seek assistance from, say, Nueces County, which I believe it had in the past, or any other doctors. I don't think there are any other forensic doctors, any MEs or retired MEs like Dr. Fernandez that are offering their services, but the county would be free to do that as well. It's a non-exclusive contract with Dr. Fernandez.
And basically, Mr. Guerra, these autopsies or decisions are made through the JPs or the county judge? I'm sorry?
Yes, that would be done. That would be done at the request of one of the judges of the peace there in Jim Wells County. They would contact Dr. Fernandez, and then he would go ahead and perform whatever services that were requested from the JP.
And I believe that I have jurisdiction also. If I can get if everybody's in training and everybody's out of the county, I can take over that too, I think. But the good thing about this contract is that he can do partials.
Yeah,
So
that's
if they can recommend, they don't have to recommend a full autopsy. They can recommend a partial. He can do it, and I think that's a plus for our county, because that's, I mean, it's expensive.
money,
Yes.
And Jerry, as far as the fee schedule, that's the same one that's identical to the one Clayburgh County entered into with y'all?
Correct. It is the same exact fee schedule.
And how long is the contract?
1 year.
1 year?
I make a motion to enter into non-exclusive
I'll
contract
second.
with Dr. Ray Fernandez.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank y'all. Thank both of y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks, Michael.
Where am I? Yes.
Would we start right away or?
Good question, Noe. Thank you. Let's see.
I think we had set it for April 1st, Judge.
Yeah, it doesn't say here, but yeah, April 1st will be, we'll note it here in Commissioners Court, and I'll have them print it before we sign the official copy. Agenda item number 8, presentation of racial profiling statistics for Jim Wells County. Constable Precinct 1, Constable Albert Martinez, as mandated by T-Close. So
I don't see him there.
I'm not sure, he's not
It just makes it,
present.
it just goes on there, not just showing that he took the class. Is that what it is, right?
No, they have to make the presentation.
It's a presentation, yeah. We table it? I think, is he in his office by chance?
I'm texting him.
Texting him? Okay,
can
tell you
come
what,
back.
I'm gonna come back to it, just in case he's around, he can come and. Okay, we'll come back to number 8 in just a bit. Number 10, consider and take action to authorize an RFP pursuant to section 116 of the Texas Local Government Code to designate a bank depository for a 2-year period beginning June 23 through May 25. Can I take a motion?
We're gonna go out for an RFP.
Yes, every 2 years you have to go out for RFP.
I make a motion to take action to authorize an RFP for a bank depository.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 11, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the county treasurer, Mark Dominguez, to enter into an agreement with Lone Star Investment Pool for investments of Jim Wells County funds as directed by and in an amount authorized by the Commissioners Court. This is partly my doing and Mr. Dominguez is doing right now as a review of our financial state and kind of wanted to do this when I was judge before, but at that time we didn't have the funds that we do have today, and we're looking at every revenue source that we can have in Jim Wells County to present myself and to present to the Commissioners Court. So this item has to do with our investment pool to try to use our Jim Wells County funds as a multiplier to increase our fund balance. Mr. Dominguez, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just add to that as well. It's just trying to diversify our portfolio as well. I think this is a good opportunity for him to speak on this. It's a little more. And speaking to him in conferences, he's told me, the advantages of doing that. So,
yeah. Good morning, Judge. Commissioners, thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to earn your business. Let me start by saying I am a TASB employee. That means I'm a Texas Association of School Boards employee. And what that means is that I am salary. I am not commission based in any shape or form. What we do for school districts in the state of Texas, we provide a lot of different training and opportunities. One of those is, which also bleeds into the counties and governments, which is buy board. I'm not sure if you all use buy board or not. Well, that's part of Texas Association of School Boards. Another entity that we use is called First Public, which is what I fall under. And the reason First Public exists is because of the investment side. Otherwise, the SEC said that all 1,000 employees in TASB would have to be licensed with the SEC. So to circumvent that, First Public was created. We are a subsidiary of TASB. So I wanted to put that out there, show you how that works. So the Lone Star Investment Pool is what we administer. And what we do for school districts, community colleges, city governments, anybody with public funds, we help them with their investments. When I say investments, I want you to not think about the stock market because that's extremely risky because if that plummets, it hurts your 401k. It does nothing to us. We are separate from that. We fall under the Public Funds Investment Act. It's a protected bubble, if you will, of mutual funds. So if they plummet, it does not affect us. Okay, if that makes any sense. So it's protected. So anything under the Public Funds Investment Act has to have a certain grade, has to be authorized by 2 different authorized investment companies. So that means it has to have at least, I think it's a double A negative or a P negative. That's the lowest, and that's extremely well. The most riskiest part of the Lone Star Investment Pool is commercial paper. Commercial paper, if you're familiar with how that works in the stock market, you can make a lot of money if you put $100 into that, and then by the end of the month, you might have a couple of thousand, if you're lucky. Well, commercial paper with us it is issued debt, but it's debt issued through companies like Google, Dell, Microsoft, Bank of America. So this is debt issued, but it's guaranteed by the issuer's money. Okay, so it's not, let's just see if it works. So it's very safe money. Another thing I want to take you back 2.5 years ago when COVID hit, every single bank, including Alice, and you know this, it went down to 0.0001, and some smaller banks even went negative. We never went negative, and nobody in our pool lost a penny. Okay, we have last year we actually peaked out at $20 billion. This year so far we've peaked out at 22.8 billion. So we're still even growing at that point. Okay, so now that I've kind of painted that picture, let me back up a little bit and tell you about Lone Star and how it works. So we've been around for 32 plus years. We have 2 money managers. one money manager in Fort Worth or Dallas, Texas, another money manager in Pittsburgh. For every dollar that comes in, each money manager gets 50 cents. Immediately within the pool, it is diversified. The diversification is created because it's independently invested. Those two money managers are overseen by a third party called Cap Trust. Cap Trust oversees their dealings to make sure they're, one, under the Public Funds Investment Act, extremely safe, and then they report back to the board of directors, which is First Public. At that point, we make decisions based on what's going on. Questions at this point? Okay, so if you chose to participate into the Lone Star investment pool, there's no minimum balance. There's no maximum balance. There's no obligation of any long-term commitment. If you put $1 million in today and you find out, you know what, we need a couple of fire trucks tomorrow and we need to repair a building, we need the $1 million back. As long as the request is in by 3 p.m. today, the money is there tomorrow. Okay.
I guess my question would be to you, Michael. Would this interfere with our bank depository?
No, this would just, the bank depository is, for our day-to-day needs. And I think we have probably just under or over 30 different bank accounts with which currently is Prosperity. And you all just voted to go out for RFP on that. This is a pool for monies that are more long-term, that you probably won't need in the very near future. And it's a way to just earn some interest on that money, but yet keep it in reserve and keep it liquid. And maybe the gentleman can speak to the liquidity or the accessibility of the money. I think he just did mention something he gave a scenario where you may need a piece of heavy equipment that's going to cost quite a bit and you don't have the funds available. You can go get it out of the pool and draw it back into one of the accounts that we have locally with our bank depository. So the short answer is no, it doesn't interfere. This would be basically funds that you hope you won't need in the near future.
Thank you, sir. And just to piggyback on that, and we're not here to change anything that you're currently doing at all. The best way to put it is we're here to complement your current portfolio.
So what's
Rate.
what's the percentage that y'all are dealing with right now? Like you said, 0.0001. Are you
Right.
all 2%, 3%, 5%?
I would like for you to say, keep going. We're getting there, but
No, but like if you deposit on CDs, I get up to 5%.
right.
And that will make a huge amount of money.
Right.
Okay, so is that the type of investments you're looking at?
No, it's a little bit different. So let me dive right into that. So a CD, that means you're locking your money up
Right.
for a guaranteed amount of rate. So with the Lone Star investment pool, like I said, it's overnight liquidity. So your money is here today, and if you need it tomorrow, it comes out tomorrow. I don't care if it's $1 million or $10 million. It comes out tomorrow if you need it. There's never a transaction fee. There's never a processing fee. The money is your money. So the rates that we're looking at right now, you have 3 funds. Once, and if you choose to approve the Lone Star investment pool, you have a government fund, which is anything that's implicitly or explicitly backed by the U.S. government. Right now, that's at 4.8. And it's daily. It's a daily yield.
8 or 6?
I'm sorry.
8 or 6?
I believe it's 4.8 now.
Anyway, say 4%, it's close enough. But
Yeah, 4.8.
Okay.
So, and then the other 2 funds, they're prime funds, and that's when I talk about, they have commercial paper. They're at 4.9. So we're at that rising rate environment. So we always ask you, because we don't want to act as your financial advisor. Seek advice from your financial advisor. That's the first thing to always do. Okay, and we'll always tell you that. So if you choose to go with Lone Star investment pool route, the money that you're earning it daily, and it'll pour into your account monthly. If you look in your bags, there's a trifold in there. That one shows each of the funds. That's a monthly fund that comes out. I believe I put January's in there. I haven't printed February's, but I think those are January's. But you'll see the rate for each fund, and they're all above 4%. So hypothetically, if you were to deposit even $1 million, Just in the month of January, at the end of January, you would have had deposited $3,333. That's at 4%.
Right.
And right now, we're clearly above that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. Okay, it's, an amount that's authorized by the Commissioners Court. So what amount would that be?
You mentioned 3,300 and some, that's with $1 million or?
That's a $1 million, leaving it in there for a month.
Right.
Now, as far as the amount, sir, that is really entirely up to you all.
Well, that's what I'm asking, directing it to the auditor.
Okay, that's something that we can discuss with you.
Because we have to have some leeway, I mean,
And there would have to be guidelines for you all. You all would say, mark $1 million and where it's gonna be at, but you all would have to make the decision. How
Well,
much?
our fund balance at the end of 2022 is 12.1.
Right now, it's a little bit more.
Yes, you're totally right, but I think what we can actually set aside for has to come from the general fund, because that's the general, I mean, the fund balance, because we're more than likely not going to pull it out of that. So whatever we do has to be below 12.1, of course, and I'm sure we won't do that right away, but we'd have to come up with an amount if we want to invest. And I really do think it's safe. I really do think that we should invest, and I think Dominguez, I think you think the same way. Now that we do have that money, so it could be 2, 3, 4 million. You know, like he said, the example he used was 3 million, and that would be, 1 million, and that would be 3.3 a month. So another question is the contract. Once we put the money in, I know we could pull it out at any time, but I guess there's nothing to say 6 months or 9 months or a year or anything like that.
No, there is no term. If you want to keep it in there a day, you'll earn interest for the day. If you want to keep it in for the entire year, of course, you'll earn the daily interest.
You get
deposit.
penalized for pulling it out early.
There's no minimum balance. There's no maximum balance requirement. And the reason why is because we deal with so many school districts and counties. Some of these are really small, even school, like Ramirez. I mean, they can't hold $1 million in there, you know? So we work with them. So we understand that. So, and there's some counties just the same, who just don't have the money coming in. So, you know, the flexibility is there. And that's why we don't charge, or there's no minimum balance requirement.
See, we'll lock down the rate, and we will pay real close attention to it, and if we need to, I'll just bring it back to court and pull it out. To me, I think it's a win-win situation with very, very little harm done, or very little risk. There you go, Mr. Dominguez, thank you. I'll tell you what, COVID, man, makes me forget words, man. Oh, my God. But,
So what numbers are we looking at?
well, we can, whatever we feel safe with.
We had discussed in a meeting, we had discussed $1 million is what we had discussed. Now, again, that's strictly up to you guys, but looking at the numbers for $1 million, we had
12.1, yeah. We have 12.1, so
I would say at least 5,
I would say $1 million. Right?
because it's just sitting there.
Let's get started with a couple at least.
I think to be on the safe side, I think.
Because it's not risk.
If you're
He's
gonna
saying we're
invest-
not at risk.
I think $1 million before we put 2 million, I can see how it works out first, and then, see the interest that it's.
if you say 1 million, what is your safe haven? Where are you safe at 3 months? Are you safe at 5 months? What's your
Well, the thing
timeline?
is that we can pull it out anytime, so we're not, we can dig it out. If you see some kind of dip, but the trend shows that it's going on the up, so.
I would, Marty says 5, y'all say 1, I say 3.
I kind of agree with the judge. 3 would be, we have, we have enough money in our reserves to actually have operating costs of, we're required to have 3 months of operating costs. Is that what it is? And I think right now we're at 7. So I think I think 3 million would be a very safe haven, actually.
There is one other thing, Judge, which is that what's on the agenda today is also to join the pool, to authorize Mr. Dominguez to do the paperwork to join the pool. There are two blanks in those documents where the county needs to designate its two authorized representatives.
Number
So
4.
whenever you make the motion, be sure to name who the commissioners court wants to name as the two reps. We talked about the judge and the treasurer, or possibly the judge and the auditor. I think either one of those are good with the pool. Unless I'm wrong.
With my name being on there, of course.
And
That's fine.
Mark is the treasurer.
And moving forward, if you choose to have, all 3 of you listed on there, you certainly may. So you're not limited to only 2. And moving forward, there are a few other entities who choose to have some of the, like the board president and a board secretary who wanted to have access. We give them view-only access, but not access to be able to change any numbers. So that is allowable as well.
I make a motion to enter into an agreement to allow Mark Dominguez to enter into an agreement.
Approve the resolution
Oh, because it's not.
and enter into, because there's a resolution in here. So I would,
It doesn't tell us that. But we can,
that's fine.
You said, Mr. Contreras said you could put 3 people.
right.
Yeah.
But right now, according to this, it's to authorize Mark Dominguez to enter into an agreement with the Lone Star Investment Pool for investment of Jim Wells County funds, and to authorize signatories of the judge, Mark, and the auditor, Noe Gomez,
Okay. Okay,
to follow with a resolution
at the amount of,
at the amount of $3 million.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
I'll second.
So I have a motion to approve agenda item to include the signatories of myself, County Judge Pedro P. Trevino Jr., and our auditor, Noe Gomez. Of course, Mr. Dominguez is already listed, and in the amount of $3 million to be put in the investment pool. All right, does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, thank you.
And thank you, Commissioners. Mark, and Mr. Noy, thank you, guys. We look like
As
we're.
long as the
are
board
getting
president or
better and
judge and the treasurer, the secretary sign it and then notarize, and then just give me a call. Mr. Gomez, good? Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. We need to bring the resolution back. We'll do it. I'll talk to Michael afterwards. Okay, let's see. Agenda item number 12. Discuss, consider, and take actions on opening sealed bids and awarding the bid to supply the county of Jim Wells with asphalt rock surfacing materials. Yes, ma'am.
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Back in January, we brought before you a request to go out for bids for road surfacing materials. The advertisement was placed in the newspaper, and today's agenda is to, we went out for sealed bids. Today's agenda was to open any bids that were received. Judge, I'm not sure if we received any or not.
According to my office, no, we hadn't received any bids.
So I know the judge and I, we've been in discussions when we don't receive any bids, we can consider it a non-procurement item, or we, if the commissioners decide to go, perhaps, the judge has mentioned we should look at buy boards. We've talked about making the buy boards, the different buy boards that are available, accessible to the commissioners so that you can get on that buy board and procure this type of materials if you'd like, or we can re-advertise, go through the buy boards to re-advertise, or consider this after we've done it several times. The federal requirements for procurement and our state local government code procurement allows us to consider this a non-procurement item after we've gone over a number of solicitations. We can certainly consider that, and we just document the file. This is using the ARPA funds.
No, I don't think buy board has any of asphalt material on it, but I'm not sure if TIPS does. And I was going to do that research and I wasn't able to do it yet. So I'm not sure if anybody else knows if TIPS does it. TIPS has more services available than different type of services than buy board. Buy board has a lot, but TIPS has kind of different services. And I'm not sure if they
I think the biggest issue we have is that all those entities are way out in Uvalde, in that area, so they wouldn't hear about it unless we told them about it.
And as we,
And then you're very limited. I think there's either one or two companies that do it, and that's it.
Local here.
Whole state, yeah.
like we have Rights Materials. the
Well,
Mar-
yeah, but they don't do,
Martin Marietta,
they don't do
they don't do the asphalt.
asphalt, yeah. It's just
It's just
Vulcan.
like caliche, limestone.
Yeah, Vulcan is the only one that does it, so you're gonna be limited on who can.
But this included all of those, right? It included the limestone and caliche
Yes,
and all
it was all the asphalt materials that you use for your roads.
road building.
Now, the other limitation is that, the reach of our newspaper, we use the local advertisements. So, I'm looking for guidance on how y'all would like to, if you want to proceed looking through the buy board or going out further through advertisement again.
Mr. Robert,
Albert's trying to get on.
the constable's trying to get on Zoom. Let him in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Judge. So just getting some directive from the Commissioners Court on whether you'd like to maybe attempt to go through the tips, I believe, Judge, and see if there's,
Just not sure if they
do some research on that so we can document that there's nothing available.
So let me ask you a question, Ms. Ryan. So like, for instance, we have these contracts with these caliche pits. What then?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Like, we have contracts with caliche pits. Like, I have one, Margie, you have one, I don't know, you have one or not, Ventura Garcia has one. And we purchase caliche from those pits. So what is this, how does this make it different or change it or what?
You currently have contracts with them for caliche? I'm probably a legal question, but I would think that you would have to honor your contract with those. But this would be for any of the other road materials that we don't have, currently have contracts with?
Well, it was purchased with ARPA funds or not?
And this was just so that we could meet our procurement guidelines through our local policies that we have and also our local government statutes.
Yes, we do have caliche contracts. We don't have
Let's see.
limestone.
The limestone, we went out for the limestone, the crushed caliche, is that the one that you all have contracts with? We went out for the rock asphalt, the liquid asphalt. The hit run caliche was also put out there. So, and just giving you that opportunity to enter into a contract for 1 year with someone so that we could all, be able to get our materials from that one contractor and having met our procurement requirements as well for ARPA.
After going out for for bids and not getting, is there any clause that allows us to go into another?
Or can you do it
Avenue?
immediately again, but send out emails to different?
We can do that as well. Reach out to some of the others that are,
Are you on a time, y'all are on a
But y'all are
time frame
under-
or anything like that,
Well,
timeline?
just that we need to
You
get
need it.
Start using it.
working our roads, yeah.
we can do another 2 weeks, bring it back. And at that time, if we still don't get any bids, then we can designate it what we call a non-procurement, document the file, and then select a contractor.
Identify the vendors and email them the
Because
the
Vulcan,
bids, the process.
Yeah, we could do that as well.
Yeah.
We'll have to do the advertisement, go on the buy board. We can check the buy board, maybe with
So,
Robert's help.
I know that Vulcan is the only place that we can get material
Yeah,
for
We
the
don't want to mention
asphalt.
names,
I
but
can
you
ask
identify the
about-
I'm
vendors that
sure,
we need
I'm
to.
sure, I'm sure
Yes,
you
sir.
guys,
Marietta.
Uh-huh.
Martin Marietta. Martin
We
Marietta.
can certainly do some research to identify vendors
Well,
and
I-
send out emails to them.
Right, we don't want to identify somebody
Yes, sir.
that's. you
and
know,
I
that
don't
might
wanna,
be-
I don't wanna hamper, my commissioner's timelines. I know they're trying to get on the road, so, I mean, I'm willing to do a meeting, another meeting here real quick tomorrow or Wednesday or sometime this week. That way we can release the bids again and try to get it as soon as possible so they can, commissioners can get on the road.
Since it didn't get anything publicizing it, can we just do emailing
Well, we
and then
didn't,
come back?
we just did Dallas, Texas, right? So.
Yes,
we
sir,
didn't do
that's-
Corpus Christi
Can
Collar.
we- can we
or-
make a motion to extend the bid process, Judge? And then we identify the vendors and send them a copy of it.
I believe we
Okay.
can do that. I can look and see maybe just adding an addendum to extend it. Maybe we can do that and then just bring it back at the next,
Okay, let's.
ask for a
let's-
special meeting or
let's
bring
do
it back.
that. And if there's an issue with it, we'll come back and redo the bid process. So, that being said, can I entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we extend the seal bids
Well, you
by
can't,
sending
But we
emails.
can't
Do
do
it by
that.
this
It's
one.
just to, this is just to open the bids.
Yeah,
It's
open the
not,
bids. We can't
we'd have
extend
to
Oh, we have to put it
go
on.
into another meeting.
Okay.
so, why don't we table
No
this,
action on?
table it, just table it, and then we can bring a new item.
Make a night,
Yeah.
I make a motion to table.
Yes, sir. We can do that.
I have a motion to table and a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. So I think, do we have Mr. Martinez on the,
He just texted me, Judge, and he says that there's no action required on that. It's just a obligation to submit the numbers,
That he's made already, right?
okay,
which he's already submitted. So you can just make a motion to accept them. You don't have to approve them. You just accept them as submitted.
Get the presentation, right?
Yes, sir.
okay. All righty, not a problem. Thank you. It's number 8, so I guess we'll,
Just leave it.
yeah, I'll just leave it like that. Agenda item number 13, discuss, consider, and adopt a resolution to designate authorized signatories for the 2022 Texas CDBG Program Grant Agreement under CFC 22-40144. Excuse me. I guess all we have to do is, we have that grant open currently. And all we have to do is identify our signatories, which,
It's always been you.
would you like to read this? We have a resolution that states that the county judge, hold on, let me see. The county judge, the county auditor, and the county treasurer are authorized to execute the request for payments or documents and other forms required and requested funds to reimburse for project costs. So, you want to read this whole thing? Or do we- I don't think we
You
need
don't
to.
have to know.
I don't think we need to, just as you, if you all agree that myself and the county auditor and the county treasurer, who we do that anyway, um, we have authorization by Jim Wells County Commissioners Court to be the signatories.
I make a motion to adopt a resolution to designate the judge, the auditor, Mark Dominguez,
It also includes the county clerk here,
and
the county judge, county clerk, county auditor, and county
Oh, yeah,
treasurer.
county clerk, yes.
Skip that.
Skip that.
county clerk and county auditor to be the signatories for the grants.
Tío Jovito.
Oh, bad. Let me borrow yours.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second, to include county judge, county clerk, auditor, and county treasurer as the signatories. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 14, discuss, consider a resolution adopting the CDBG civil rights policies. No, this one, we should probably read this one, right? Read this one. Yeah, because this one has to do with CDBG. Ms. Gonzalez is going to read the resolution.
Resolution regarding civil rights, Jim Wells County, Texas. Whereas Jim Wells County, Texas, has been awarded a Texas CDBG funding through a Texas CDBG grant from the Texas Department of Agriculture. Whereas Jim Wells County, in accordance with Section 109 of the Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act, the Age Discrimination Act of 1975, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and for construction contracts greater than 10,000 must take action to ensure that no person or group is denied benefits such as employment, training, housing, and contracts generated by the CDBG activity on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, or disability. Whereas Jim Wells County, in consideration for the receipt and acceptance of federal funding for the contract, agrees to comply with all federal rules and regulations, including those rules and regulations governing citizen participation and civil rights protections. Whereas Jim Wells County, in accordance with Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968, as amended, and 24 CFR Part 75, is required to the greatest extent feasible to provide training and employment opportunities to lower income residents and contract opportunities to businesses in the Texas CDBG project area. Whereas Jim Wells County, in accordance with Section 104 of the Housing and Community Development Act, as amended, and states certification requirements at 24 CFR 91.325, must adopt an excessive force policy that prohibits the use of excessive force against nonviolent civil rights demonstrations. Whereas Jim Wells County, in accordance with Executive Order 13166, must take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to services and federally assisted programs and activities by persons with limited English proficiency, and must have an LEP plan in place specific to the locally and beneficiaries for Texas CDBG project. Whereas Jim Wells County, in accordance with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, does not discriminate on the basis of disability and agrees to ensure that qualified individuals with disabilities have access to programs and activities that receive federal funds. Whereas the Jim Wells County, in accordance with Section 808E5 of the Fair Housing Act, that requires HUD programs and activities be administered in a manner affirmatively to further the policies of the Fair Housing Act, agrees to conduct at least one activity during the contract period to affirmatively further fair housing and Whereas Jim Wells County agrees to maintain written standards or conduct covering conflicts or interest and governing the actions of its employees engaged in the selection, award, and administration of contracts. Now therefore be it resolved by Commissioners Court of Jim Wells County, Texas, that the Jim Wells County adopts the following: citizen participation plan and grievance procedures, excessive force policy, Section 504 policy and grievance procedures, code of conduct policy, fair housing policy. The Jim Wells County affirms its commitment to conduct a project-specific analysis and take all appropriate action necessary to comply with program requirements for the following: Section 3, economic opportunity, limited English proficiency, and affirmative fair housing.
Thank you, Margie, for reading that for me.
Fair housing.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept item number 14 is presented, Judge.
Okay,
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And I'm gonna pass a whole bunch of signatures.
So this was for the housing program, right?
This is the one for the, no, the next one is for the housing program. This one is to adopt and designate the civil rights policies. All right. So we already voted on that, right? Okay, all right. Agenda item,
We made the motion, but did we vote?
yeah, we voted, yeah. Agenda item number 15, proclaim April as Fair Housing Month. This proclamation will help to fulfill fair housing activity obligations as required by the grant. So proclamation of April as Fair Housing Month, whereas amended and prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States, and whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all Americans. And whereas the National Fair Housing Law during the month of April provides an opportunity for all Americans to recognize that complete success in a goal of equal housing opportunity can be accomplished with the help of and cooperation of all Americans. Now, therefore, we, Commissioners Court, Jim Wells County, do proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in Jim Wells County, and do hereby urge the citizens of this locality to become aware and support the fair housing law. And this is the Civil Rights Act of 1968. That being read, can I entertain a motion?
I make a motion to proclaim
Yes.
April as Fair Housing Month.
Second.
Okay, have a motion, have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 16, consideration and approval of offer to purchase tax sale property suit number 11-05-15282-B, Jim Wells County, City of Alice, Alice Independent School District, and Alice Water Authority versus Irma S. Ramirez, account number 1196501300000, 5 zeros, for that matter, 5 zeros, 0.212 acre, more or less, being the north portion of the Lot 16, Block 1, Langford Addition, Farm Block Subdivision, in addition in addition to the city of Alice, Jim Wells County, Texas, as described in deed dated April 20th, 1962, from E.M. Wilkes to Neil Bronstone in volume 211, page 29, deed of records of Jim Wells County. Okay, so this is just a sale purchase in the amount of $5,100. Can I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
1 second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, so we have a few more. Okay, let me get back into this. I'm in the right spot. Okay, the next item on the agenda is item number 17, discuss, consider, and take action to enter into an intergovernmental support agreement, IGSA, with Naval Air Station Kingsville and the Department of Navy to provide list-out services to the Naval Air Station Kingsville, Orange Grove Naval Auxiliary Field, as be required by the Navy. And this is just for an agreement to possibly for Jim Wells County to provide services for the Orange Grove Naval Auxiliary, to include ground maintenance, solid waste services, and pest control services. What happens is we're going to sign a letter of intent that it's our intention to provide some of these services, that Jim Wells County provides some of these services. We may not do it, or after further evaluation and further, bidding and whatever else, we may not get it, we may not do it, but they do want a letter from us saying that we are interested. And Commissioner Garcia and I toured the landing strip, the Touch and Go Auxiliary in Orange Grove. And it's a big undertaking, but there's also, like, for example, pest control. There's also solid waste for us to pick up trash from there. We can do it ourselves, provide the bid, we get it, we do it, we get paid. We can not sublease, but what? Subcontract it. We can subcontract it, and the subcontractor does the work, and we get a minimal fee for doing that. But it's something that I'd like for the Commissioners Court to really take, under consideration, and let us approve the intent, and then we can go back and do all our research that needs to be done. And if we see fit that it behooves us to do this, then we do it.
Well, I make a motion to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Naval Air Station Kingsville and the Department of Navy to provide list-out services.
A second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed?
Judge, Commissioner made her motion that it was an interlocal.
Intergovernment.
Yes, and that's not where we're at this point. This is, isn't this just authorizing you to send the letter on the county's behalf? The, what's the acronym you mentioned again? It's got a 4-letter acronym?
IGSA.
IGSA. That's all we're authorized. We're not actually making an agreement at this point. Is that correct?
Yes, we just.
Okay. So maybe Margie, if you could reword your motion, that you're approving authorizing the letter, not necessarily any agreement at this time.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to enter into an intent for an IGSA with the Naval Air Station Kingsville and the Department of Navy to provide list out services.
So we got that amendment? Okay, so she's withdrawing the first motion and entering this motion.
I second.
In other words, we're not committed.
Right.
Right.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion granted. Go ahead and put me a yay on that one. Thank you. Agenda item number 18, discuss, consider, and take action on awarding a bid for Jim Wells County Grant Writing Project Management and Grant Administration Services. We had submitted an RFP for this. We received the RFPs. We opened them up in one of the last Commissioners Court, and we had 2 that submitted. And we've sent these to the committee for scoring. We had community concepts. The committee scored, and man, what does that say? 288, right?
288.
288. Their score was 288. And we also have Border Affairs, who had, make sure it's right,
369.
369. So Community Concepts was 288, and Border Affairs was 369. That's how the scoring happened. At this time in the Commissioners Court, I would like for both of the ones who submitted to address the court, provide a brief presentation to the court if possible. Ms. Yolanda Moran, would you like to go first? Ms. Yolanda Moran is from Community Concepts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me the opportunity to give a little presentation regarding community concepts. I'm not going to go into a lot of background about my experience, education, and knowledge. You've had an opportunity to look at that. I'd first like to point out that you have the opportunity to consider not just who scored the top. You don't have a policy in place for that. You have a practice. However, the Commissioners Court has the ultimate authority to decide. And you've done that before with other RFPs that have gone out with programs like CDBG, Texas Department of Agriculture, and all of those other federal programs and state programs. So I just want to point that out to you. What I want to talk about is that I am currently doing most of the things that you all have gone out for an RFP. I'm already invested in this community. I'm already invested with the Commissioners Court. If you recall, when I was hired to do the ARPA grant administration, I suggested, because of everything and identifying the needs from each of the commissioners that I visited with and all the departments that I visited with, we identified the needs that were needed not only within our Commissioners Court and departments, but out in the community. So we started the process of getting there and identifying those needs, meeting with you all, discussing what those were. I've been doing the work. We suggested that this be considered. Most counties have a grants administration department. It was suggested that we look at possibly doing that, creating that as a full-time. The decision later was discussed that maybe we should go out for an RFP instead. So here we are. I'd like to point out to you that I have 25 years experience in grant writing and management. I have a background in planning and community development. So I am invested in this community. This is not about the knowledge or experience. It is about service. And I believe that I have proven I have a track record of servicing our community, servicing our departments, and servicing each and every one of you. I'd like to point out that this is not just about hiring a company. It's about the service, dependability, and being there to meet each and everyone's needs within our community. It's about doing a job, a service. I have a strong sense of commitment within Jim Wells County and our surrounding communities. You know, the nonprofits, the communities from the city of Orange Grove, city of Fremont know me. They can pick up the phone. I'm accessible. I can work with them. I can work with our commissioners. We can bring each other together and get things done. And we have been. If you notice, we are moving, we are going, we're doing things. And I want to be able to continue to do that. I want to be able to service our community. I am well informed on policies and procedures. As you can see, I come up here, I present to you. I have worked with each and every one of you. I keep you informed. I'm always accessible, not only to the county commissioners, but city officials, our citizens of this community, and of course, other leaders. I want to point out that service and excellent grant coordination builds partnerships with businesses and nonprofits. And I also want to point out to you the types of work that I have done since I started working here. Not only managing the ARPA, but I've worked with you all. We brought a solid waste tire program. We organized with the community. We did that program separate from ARPA. We worked with the commissioners and the departments to identify their needs. I will be bringing to you a report. We're almost there with our departments. I hope I have satisfactorily met their needs as well and still work with them. TxDOT transportation grant. I've worked with one of the commissioners to bring a safer grant program for sidewalks in the Benbolt Palito Blanco area. Preparing CDBG documents. I've worked with the judge's staff and with the commissioners to prepare those documents. I've also worked with the Freshwater Supply District. We're dealing with an issue in English Acres. We're working very closely with the Attorney General's office to try and with Commissioner Margie Gonzalez to get a resolution for that. The Tecolote Trail improvements, constantly work. We're almost finished. We've got a June deadline to finish that project. We're going to go full speed ahead on that. And then I worked really hard. There's a broadband grant that's coming up, that's due. I worked really hard to make this a regional approach so that we could be competitive. I organized that back in September. We had a great turnout. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend due to the passing of my father, but we worked together to get that done, and hopefully we will be competitive when we submit that grant for broadband to all our community for those that are lacking in broadband. I've worked with the city of Orange Grove, Fremont, and currently working with nonprofits. We will be bringing that to you to make decisions on those funding awards. And I will be bringing you an update on where we're at with our ARPA program. This, again, in closing, I want to say this is not about the scoring of points or the experience. I can go toe to toe. I've got 25 years of experience, especially community development, working close with our community. Thank you so much, and I would appreciate you continuing to allow me to service you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Border Affairs, Mr. Humberto Garza.
Good morning, everybody. Humberto Garza with Border Affairs. That was a good presentation. I'm about to make the decision a little harder on you guys. It's good to be here. I thank you for the invitation, and thank you for for your audience today. I'm the president of Border Affairs, and I've also been doing this for quite a bit, for about 30 years or so. I started my history in government a long, long time ago. My firstborn was born at that time. I worked for the city of McAllen as a purchasing agent, and I learned that public service was something that I could be interested in. I thought I would go to law school, but I ended up staying behind and doing what most of you are doing at this very moment. I then went on to become chief administrator for a county judge and chief administrator for 2 county commissioners. Also did 2 legislative sessions in the state of Texas. I was part of 2 important pieces of legislation that I'm very proud of. One of them is called Texas First. You're familiar with that because every time you go to HEB, you see a little emblem that says Texas First. Well, that only means that if school boards or government entities want to buy orange juice or any type of commodity, they have to choose Texas before they go somewhere else in their bids. So I was part of that. I was part of the World Birding Center. Those are 12 facilities in deep South Texas where tourists can go out there and see and take advantage of the birding community and so forth. Soon after that, I also did a stint as a lobbyist for Doctors Hospital Renaissance. I traveled to Washington, traveled to Austin to lobby for folks and to lobby for special interests, for corporate interests. I realized that was not my calling, and I left that place, and I went back to county government after that. Soon after that, I ended up in Washington, D.C. I worked for a U.S. congressman. I did 4 years as a district director for Congressman Filemon Vela. While doing that, he made me in charge of the grants department because of my vast experience with grants. You see, I've been a part of multiple boards, about 12 boards, public boards, and I've graded grants, and I've written grants, and public funding, external funding has been a part of what I've been doing on both sides of the fence. You know, I've written some and I've also graded some. So I have a presentation for you. So let me go over it real quick. I'm going to tell you why it's important to hire not only Border Affairs, but to hire anybody to do this sort of thing, because money is so readily available. You already have a great option here, and I'm hoping that may I have the one I gave? I have an extra one. But the city of Alice has become kind of a commonplace for me now, because I've been traveling to Beaver. We're about to start a project at Chase Airfield, a lift station. And aside from the reason we're building a lift station at Chase Airfield is because we're attracting manufacturers, and we're doing some economic development, some industrial entities. We already have 3. One of them is from Dubai, and the other ones are from here in the United States. So we're implementing infrastructure, coordinating it with economic development. And I think it's important at this time and age that any community, such as yourselves, with the ambition and the progressive nature, to be focused on these things. Professional experience, I kind of went over that again, and my mother would be upset if I keep talking about myself, but basically those are my, page 2 talks about my experience in government and the years I put into government. The Border Affairs team, government management and funding specialists put together, we all make up over 70+ years of experience, and we've all done this. We've all either been grant writers, grant recipients, or project managers. That means we work with the federal government. Page 3, that's my clientele. After leaving government, what I did is I worked for an independent, a federal contractor, and these were my clients. And I put them in here because it's important to understand that as you keep moving, as you keep progressing, the city keeps and the county keeps progressing, we're going to be starting these projects. And if we're going to be using federal monies, this is the expectations that they have. Working with federal monies for these clients here, there's only one rule, or there's only one grade, one standard of operating, and that's perfection. You got to do it perfectly. And there's no ifs, ands, or about that. You got to do it perfectly, and you got to do it right all the time. What happens if you don't? Well, they start billing you. per day for not doing it the way they want you to do it. Well, we have that experience. I already have that experience. Jessica Campos, our project manager, has over 22 projects in federal government. You know, I myself have a whole handful of them, but these are the type of expectations that you're going to need to have. You're going to need to look at once you start moving forward in a progressive nature. I have partnerships. Page number 4, and these are very, very important, extremely important. You're not working with partners on these things, and you have some partnerships that you're considering doing on your agenda. Well, it's very important that we create these partnerships, and I'll tell you why. Extremely important. We have engineering groups, we have architectural groups, and we have accounting groups, and they're all partners with Border Affairs. What happens is this: an announcement for a federal announcement, a notice of federal announcement, and NOFA comes out and says, hey, you got 3 months to do your grant application. You're gonna have to do it in 3 months. Well, some of these grant applications need a little bit of engineering, a little bit of architecture, and a little bit of numbers. If you don't have these information by the time the deadline comes out, guess what happens? Well, you're gonna have to wait till the next time or the following time. You're gonna have to rely on possibly those monies not being available for you. So what happens is we have these teams of folks ready to work with you and say, okay, here they are, we can do it, we can put something together. 90 days to submit this thing, we'll do it done in 3 to 4 weeks. That way we have the application ready to go, we have the application ready to submit, and we don't have to stand in the line somewhere. Stand in the back of the line. The Texas, page 5, certified administrator for CDBG. And this one's important, and you need to know this, because if you're using CDBG funds, which I know you are because there was an item on the agenda. Well, if you're a certified administrator, which we are, what happens is that most CDBG grant applications, most CDBG grant funds have a section there for administration fees. That way, it doesn't come out of your pocket. It comes out of the grant itself. The grant pays for it, but you gotta be an administrator. Otherwise, you're gonna have to figure out a way to pay that person who's doing the grant for you, whether it's in-house or it's a private consultant. And this is the reason I'm here today. The page 6, the Infrastructure and Investment and Jobs Act. November 11, HR 3684, $1.2 trillion of infrastructure and bipartisan bill. Both sides agreed to it. Okay, we're already in year 2 of this thing. We need to, I tell my communities, we need to stay ahead and we need to be on track of these monies. 110 billion for roads and major projects, 17 billion for port infrastructure, 11 billion for transportation safety, revitalization of communities, 1 billion, 65 billion for broadband, 55 billion for clean drinking water. And all of these monies, 80% of them are gonna go through grants. So you need to be active and be a strong participant, an aggressive and bold participant in these and going out for these grants. Whether it's me or the other folks, the other company that is here, you got to do this. Project management. I put this slide in here so you can understand that the stages of project management and project development. You know, on page 8, you have the design, the construction management, operation and maintenance, and then underneath is the project finances. What I'm trying to tell you is that every single one of these elements has a way to get funded through the federal government or to state government or to private foundations. It's not a matter of, well, we'll get the monies and we'll pay for the construction. No. You're gonna have to figure out a way to maintain it, and you're gonna have to figure out a way to be in compliance and to administer the grant. Well, there's monies for that. And I want to make sure that you understand that the way that we work it is we work the entire process, not get to the grant and goodbye, but we get to the grant, we administer for you, we train your staff that needs to be trained, and we finish and we close out the project. Remember, at that standard that we talked about a while ago, perfection. Page 9 just gives you a funding development and schematic of what we intend to do and how we go about intending to do it. We identify the federal, state, private, internal funding opportunities, prepare and submit the proposal, the contract management administration, and basically all the elements that we put in play for any type of project, any type of funding opportunity. Grants, question mark, lots of words, page 10. Lots of words on when it comes to grants. Sure, there's a lot of ideologies and there's a lot of playbooks for writing grants. And I go home to a teacher every night, and I've been doing that for the past 30 some odd years. She's written grants she's a reading teacher for books and for all sorts of other school curriculums. She's never asked me a question about that because some of these opportunities are very, very easy. There's now the age of technology. There's opportunities now for folks to get on in front of the laptop and start doing it themselves. And that's easy and that's fine. And I'm willing to do those for you. And what I want to do is the big ones, the ones that take a lot of time, the ones that take a lot of administration, the ones that are very important and that you comply with. There's certain rules and policies and regulations of the state and the federal government. Compliance is key here, and I'll tell you why. Grant writing, page 11. Basically, that's exactly what we do when it comes to grant writing. It's our ideology, it's the way we think. There's a consultation period. That means I will visit with each and every one of you and ask you what your strengths and your weaknesses are in your dedicated precincts. And I will ask, what is it that your needs are compared to your wants? And we can address those two. And once we identify those two, then we can tackle some of these things, and we'll do it in a strategic way. I'm not going to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste mine. But I need to do it the right way. I need to understand your precincts. I need to understand your entire county. We do research on those, the strengths and weaknesses. We do public outreach. Does this benefit you? I used to be policy advisor for a state representative. I understand, that public is very, very important. Grant development, we put it together. The award and the compliance, again, I'm not going to worry, but we go all the way, the whole 10 yards for this. Funding and administration, page 12. Again, this is a compliance issue. Very, very important, extremely important. You don't have compliance, you don't have proper administration, guess what happens? You're not going to be on the list again. Or federal government will just take your money back. It's extremely important that you're in compliance. I put some of the areas that you need to be in compliance with. I have clients that I've been in there and they're so aggressive to go after grants. We have to take a year or two to fix some of their non-compliance with TCEQ, the Texas Water Development Board. We can talk all day long about submitting grants, but are we going to get them? We have to get real on these things. If we don't fix what we have, if we don't do the housekeeping, we're not going to do it. We're not going to get it. We can apply for all these grants, but that doesn't mean we're going to get them. So it's very, very important. For us, it's extremely important. We're with you on this. And if you don't get paid, we don't get paid. Administration, again, is part of the making sure that everything goes right. The contract negotiation, we've done a bunch of these grants. We've advocated for our clients. We look at little things from the government, some of the rhetoric that goes, some of the language, the legalese that goes into these contracts. We like to change and we like to advocate for our clients. We do so that. And the project management, and that's something that we like to stick around till the end of the very project. Say we're doing that lift station that we're doing, we're going to stick around until that thing's finished and until all the documentation has been done with the federal government. And that's just what we do. So it's not only grant writing and it's not only grant consultation, it's also project management. And like I said, we've already have a bunch of those projects under our belt, federal government. 13, it's very important, the project development. If you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't done these, if you don't know if you cannot recognize some of the things that are happening in a project, then chances are that project's going to be delayed. Remember what happens when the project gets delayed? Federal government is going to say, you're going to owe me because you were supposed to finish by this date. So if you don't understand project development or project administration, it's very important. Recognition, evaluate the funding. How much are we spending on these projects? How much should we be spending? How much should we not be spending? Strategy buildup. And for those of us that are in construction that are listening, you know that, strategy buildup, if you have construction folks, sometimes they don't show up to work, or sometimes they go to another project, sometimes they don't show up, or sometimes they miss out some folks because they're sick. Well, you have to create a strategy to bring synergy to this entity here, entity in Washington, entity in Austin, entity at the job site, and myself and my team. So you got to have be a constant on a leadership role, and it is inspiring these folks, every single entity of these folks, every single group, to keep moving in the right direction, to keep moving forward and to be progressive. Team building is kind of the same thing that I was talking about. We assign management and we ensure that quality is there. I put this slide in here, 14, because infrastructure. We're going to focus on infrastructure, and we're going to focus on growing and being a better version of ourselves here in Jim Wells County. You can't do it without infrastructure. You can try to attract the corporate entities out there, and you have a good chunk here on your main street here in Alice, but you got to keep building on that. How do you do that? They're not going to come if you don't have the right water supply, you don't have the right water pressure, if you don't have the right water lines, if you don't have the flooding, if you don't have the drainage options. They're not going to come this way. That's why we're building that lift station up in Beeville, because we need that water to come in and out. Manufacturers and industrial entities, they're not going to anywhere unless you have broadband, which she was talking about a while ago. If you don't have broadband, they don't want to even show up, because all these the technology that's being placed into the industrial facet of these entities, it all has to do with broadband. Every piece of machinery now can be worked on from distance, several distance from not in home, but from other places. So infrastructure is key, and that's where we want to come in and help you build for tomorrow, help you build for today, and help you build for tomorrow. And 15 is just a somewhat repetition of what I just said. You don't have municipal infrastructure, you don't have economic growth. I want to help you, and I want to help this community. I want to help Jim Wells, and I'm already doing a work here in Beeville. I want to make this my other place that I'm working on. One Border Affairs here. We want to help you, look at what your ambitions are and what your checklist is, or what that list of wants and needs, and help you put those into fruition. We'd love to help you do that. We'd love to help you with the grants you already have. We'd love to help you with the stuff that you want to go after, and we'll review those for you. It all comes in our scope, and thank you for your audience. I want to be here. We want to be here, and we want to be part of Jim Wells. My number is there on the last page. That's my cell phone, the one I have here on my coat. And if I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm probably talking in another meeting here or dealing with other things, but I promise you, I will call you back or I will text you back. And I am the president of this company. And we have a big team here, and you will be talking to me directly. Thank you for your audience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, just a little bit more time. I didn't realize we were allowed a little more time. I just wanted to get a clarification so that you will be aware. From what I understand, you're looking at hiring a grant management position to manage your grants. What that will then mean is this firm is going to be now submitting those grants for you, overseeing them, administering them. Therefore, they will be done all in-house. You will not have to, you will not go out for procurement to hire other grants that are companies, because if you're doing the grants management, then this ones will not be able to submit proposals. They cannot, if they're going to help you write for a CDBG grant or a Texas Department of Agricultural grant or a TDA or EDA grant, by law, we're not allowed to also submit a proposal to get that contract. So you need to be aware of that. So we either going to do it in-house, where we now, the firm that's hired will now manage all your grants. Or if we write and help go after some of these other grants, we, the firm that's selected, cannot also submit a proposal for that. It's very clear when you get those applications, it says there that if anyone that has helped, they cannot submit. And that's one of the reasons why I have not submitted for some of these other grants, because I have been helping staff here in writing or helping get those advertisements out and things. Also, I'd like to point out that I am local. The money stays here. I am, if I am successful in getting awarded this contract, I will look at hiring additional local people. Our tax money stays here. As far as the grant experience, I do 25 years. I've worked for cities, bigger counties, doing the same thing Mr. Garza just mentioned. And thank you for allowing me to come back in a little more time to rebut some of these things. But I wanted to point that out to you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Garza, you have anything else to say? We gave her a chance to come back. We'll give you a chance to come back, no? We've seen two presentations. They've both been graded by the RFPs. We know the scores. Can I entertain a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept building committee, community concept management strategies, being it's a local and it's done a lot of work for us, and I make a motion to accept that.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Now, if, do we have further discussion first? Mr. Guerra, are you there?
Yes.
If we have a motion and we have a second, and it doesn't pass, does it die here, or we can entertain another motion?
Yes, you can always, you first determine the first motion that was made and seconded. After that, then yes, you can entertain the second motion. If you need to. If the motion passes, then that's it.
Okay.
I wanted to say something real quick. We've been working with Yolanda, and we've heard from Mr. Garza, or De La Garza. Garza. And I'm kind of, because I know right now that Yolanda has the ARPA funds, and I know that she's spread herself very thin with all these nonprofit organizations. And I know that this is just a one-year contract. And so in the back of my mind, I think it would be a good idea for 1 year, because I know how involved Yolanda has been with the ARPA funds. And I've seen, how she has spread herself very thin, working with all these nonprofit organizations and trying to create the meetings and the next meeting. And then we're just moving forward in that to work with all those nonprofits and look over how they spend their money and how all of that is going to be done. Meanwhile, we don't want to be able to miss out on anything, especially not the infrastructure funding that is coming out. So that's just one of my things that I'm looking at.
I agree with Commissioner Gonzalez. Spreading yourself real thin, you don't really, we might be in the outside looking in, so I'd rather be in the meeting room instead of looking in. So
that's just how I feel. I know we've worked wonderfully with Yolanda, but I'm just saying that for 1 year, while she's still getting all the ARPA nonprofit organizations, I know it's taken a while to get all that, and now they're doing their meetings, and we're just moving forward in to watching what they're gonna do and manage all that funding. Like I said, I think for 1 year, it would be good to get somebody else to come in and help us not lose out on any of the funding that's available for infrastructure.
So,
So now you go out for a vote, Judge.
so I got a motion and a second to hire, sorry.
Community Concepts
Community Concepts
Management.
Management. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Oh, nay.
Opposed, nay. Mr. Garcia?
Nay.
Nay. I'm nay also. Can I entertain another motion?
Would, isn't there another vote?
Yeah, I said nay.
Okay.
All right. Can I entertain another motion?
I make a motion that we go out for border affairs.
Second.
I have
And
a,
it's for 1 year.
okay, yes.
It's a 1-year contract. Yeah.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Opposed.
Aye.
Yeas, get it. We're going to contract with Border Affairs.
For
It's
it
the
or
same
against it?
sign as aye, isn't it?
Okay, she's voting against it or for it?
Are you voting for or against?
I was
said-
against it.
Yeah, she's voting against it.
So I have 3 ayes and 2 nays. So,
No, okay, who was the other one? You swear it? There was 2 and 2?
yeah, I said yes.
Okay, you voted for it? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so we have approved the contract with Border Affairs. Okay, agenda item number 19, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the county judge to enter into negotiations with Hunt Energy, HEN Infrastructure LLC for possible lease agreement. What this is, it's a lease agreement to lease 1 acre at the fairgrounds, which will be northwest, the higher northwest portion of the fairgrounds, alongside the substation. And what this is they will provide storages that will recharge batteries that will later on down the road hopefully help the energy grid. They've done it in Lufkin before, and what this is, it's a 20-year contract to lease that facility. What I'm asking the Commissioners Court today is to authorize me to negotiate further with Hunt Energy and with HEN for possible contract that will come back to Commissioners Court and presented and hopefully be all in agreement. So what I'm asking today is just for authorization to allow me to do, to negotiate.
And this is to work with AEP, is that right?
Not AEP,
Our energy source there at the fairground.
yes, and of course, we're gonna contact them too. I don't know. This is what it would look like. These are the, let me see, if I can get a better picture. I don't know if y'all can see it, but these are the storage buildings.
The batteries?
Yeah.
This, they were batteries.
And then the substation would be right up here.
Yeah, it's gonna be right next to the energy
Yeah.
facility there.
Judge, you said it's to negotiate possible lease agreement?
Yes. Yeah,
So then you're gonna negotiate with them, then bring it back to us,
Oh,
and
yes,
we'll
sir.
decide on what's going on. Okay.
I'm not asking for you to let me negotiate
Make a
and
motion to
sign.
accept item number 19 as presented.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion, I have a second, to negotiate with the two entities. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion granted. Agenda item number 20, discuss, consider, and take action to approve county treasurer's report and other monthly reports. Can I take like a 5-minute real quick? I've been drinking tea all morning. I need the facility, so. At this time, it is 12:09. I'm going to take a very, very little break and come back. Okay, it's, Brent Robert. We are, 12:15 PM, still March 27, 2023. We're back in session. Mr. Noy?
Okay, the first thing I'd like to make an observation personally.
You had, sir.
Did you okay?
You didn't approve the commissioner's report.
The
the
treasurer's
treasurer's report.
Yeah, we haven't gone over it though, right?
You brought it up on the agenda.
On his.
It was, brought
Oh,
up.
okay, I got you. Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasury report as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion, have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Number 21, discuss, consider, and take action to approve auditor's monthly report.
I'd just like to say something before we start. It seems like every commissioner's court will rush at the end. I'd like to see if y'all will consider starting it at 9 or something, so it doesn't get so rushed toward the end. That's just
Thank
my
you, sir.
opinion.
Thank you.
9 o'clock, so we don't do all this all the time.
We talked about it earlier, so I think that might be happening.
First of all, the sales tax for February, we got 343,114.79. Last year at this time, we got 267,983.12. The auditor's report, expenditures in the general fund, we're at 14%. Overall expenditures were 15%. We're supposed to be at 17%. We're positive 2% variance.
Okay, so the sales tax, we are ahead
Yes,
104,000.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good news there, very
No,
good news.
The sales tax have been doing real good.
Yeah,
They have.
good news there.
That's it.
It's good news because we're doing better than last year.
Yes.
Last year we did great, so.
We did better than the previous
yeah,
year, so it's building on
It's a
it.
big improvement, actually.
Yes, it is very good.
And for the auditor's report on the expenses, according to the treasurer's report, also the numbers, but I want to thank everybody out there that's listening, all the elected officials and everybody. Compared to last year, which was 2022, we spent $114,000 less in January and $9,500 less in February. So I appreciate y'all being good stewards of y'all's budgets. I encourage you all to please continue to do so. Hopefully, after we get March's numbers, it'll be the end of the first quarter. So we get to get better projection on what we're going to do by the end of the year. And I'm hoping it continues. Last year, we had a 2% variance, if I'm not mistaken, on the general fund. I'm hoping that variance increases substantially so we can put money back in the fund, in our general fund balance. So congratulations, continue to do good, and hopefully in March, we'll see the same. I do understand that we have three pay runs in March. Yeah, so, but we'll still be comparing it to last March, so we'll be good. So thank you all very much, appreciate you guys. And anybody else have anything? Can I entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and have a second. Any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 22, discuss, consider, and take action on payroll and bills as submitted by the county auditors with the exemption of Fund 52, 53, and 54.
Motion to approve.
A second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 23.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second to adjourn. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So do I. Court is adjourned. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. You need these, right?